Well, hello there. I've been gone for a while. I'm back. I'm sure there's quite a few questions, and we'll go over a few of mine and then we'll address some of yours. Did you miss me? How have you been? Are you ready for maybe some new content? As for questions you may have, I'm alright. Moderately. I don't really want to talk too much about it, but we're going to talk about it just a little bit. And about 2.5 inches depending on the weather. Yeah. See, the funny thing about me making little dick jokes is there's quite a few people that know that's not true. And not to talk about my cock too much in the video, over my hiatus I did make a funny status on Facebook, and I basically said, like this status if you want a picture of my junk. My friends thought I was joking. Quite a few friends saw something they didn't want to see. I think it's funny. Don't fuck with me. You ask and you shall receive, depending on age. You gotta be 18 and older to see this dick. Anywho, where have I been? I have been on hiatus. And the reason that I've been on hiatus is because my great-grandmother passed away. Late October, Granny, Carmen Maben, passed away. And so I figured it'd just be a good idea to abstain from YouTube for a bit. I've still been on Facebook, I've still been watching YouTube videos, commenting on YouTube videos, I've been playing games with people online, but I didn't want to be on camera because I understand how it can be when you might be emotionally unstable, and coming on camera just seems like a bad idea. I don't want to immortalize myself in too many negative ways. Kiki, first video I do and you start pestering me, stop. But I just decided to take a break because, I remember a long time ago when my Xbox and my PS3 died at once, I made a Facebook video and I regret that video. I don't want to put myself out there and make people feel too terrible for me, and I don't want to give the trolls any more ammunition than they already have. So I took a break from YouTube, but now I'm back. As for Granny, over the span of her lifetime, she's always been very sharp, but the past few months, towards the end of her life, she started deteriorating rather quickly, mentally and physically. I had spent an exorbitant amount of time down there helping. I'm a big, strong dude, so I was able to help with the physical things. If they needed me to go get some prescription medicine, or that random day when Granny sat up and said she wanted a milkshake, I would go and get something for her. Other than that, I would be there to pick her up, sit her up, move her from place to place if she needed it. I said stop. But, she deteriorated really quickly. And she passed away. It wasn't a situation like she wasn't sick. She didn't crash her Harley. She was 98 years old. And had she made it to November, she would have been 99. She was the oldest member of our family. She was the pillar of my immediate family tree. And she just deteriorated really quickly, and within the span of a few months, she passed away. It wasn't too terrible. She had been sleeping a lot, so she went in her sleep and it was peaceful. And, I feel like I'm a little emotionally fucked up because I'm the only one that hasn't really cried about it. I welled up a little bit when they covered her face and put her in the van, but I haven't cried yet, so maybe I'm just emotionally damaged. But I'm alright. I have felt iffy ever since. Combination of different emotions, combination of different memories. To give you guys a memory I have. I remember as a small boy, I've always lived close to her house. Even now where I'm living, I'm close to her house. It's a block away. I remember as a small boy, I'd go to her house and she would make me French toast. And I'd have orange juice or milk and French toast in the morning. And she would sit there and read the paper, and it was a good memory. I haven't had French toast in a long time. Probably not going to have her French toast anymore. But, I want to say I appreciate those of you that saw the video that I put up about me going on hiatus. I did take it down because I had some trolling bullshit happen, and I wasn't about to have a bunch of people disliking and trolling on my grandmother's video. But for those of you that did say something kind, I appreciate it. I personally don't need the well wishes or any of that shit. It doesn't do anything for me, but it's nice for the rest of the family. I have received a few cards from people. When it comes down to it, it's all appreciated, even if I am a little bit emotionally detached. I don't know how to explain it. I'm an emotional introvert when it comes to depression and sorrow and grieving. I did have quite a few people basically go, hey bro, if you need me, to chit chat, I'm here. I'm a good listener. If you need to get anything off your chest, let's talk about it. I didn't speak to a single fucking one of you. I had a lot of you say that same fucking thing, basically. I'm here if you need to talk. I didn't talk to any of you. Even like, I play games with Kevin and I message him just about every day on Skype. I didn't even talk to him about it because I didn't really feel like there was anything to talk about. I got good memories, I got bad memories, and she was a pillar to our family. And all I really needed was some time. Just a little bit of time off camera so like I didn't emotionally break down. And just some time for me. Like I spent, Jesus Christ, this past month I have been under a lot of stress. So I have been smoking a lot more, and boys will be boys, and drowning my sorrows in pussy has not worked. But the time has helped, and I feel better. I'm not 100%, but I'll get there. For those of you, I'm just gonna do this. For those of you who are thinking right now, wow, Brett, I feel bad for you. If there's anything you need, just ask. For those of you who actually feel bad for me, for those of you who want to do something for me, for those of you who want to contribute and help me forget my grievances, I know what this is. It's e-begging, and I'm about to do it. For those of you who want to do something for me, it's real easy. You can do, one of several different things. Head down to your local Walmart or your GameStop, or hell, I think they're even at Dollar General, and pick me up a Xbox or PSN card. Not the Xbox Live or PS Plus, just like a $20 or $25 money card. Send me that. If you don't want to leave your house, you can click on my channel right now and open it up in a new tab, and you can go to my Amazon wish list and you can send me something off there within your price budget. I understand a lot of people are going to think, wow, Brett, that's really shitty. You're trying to profit off your grandmother. No. If I wanted to profit off my grandmother, I would have uploaded a video the night she died, crying like a little bitch and begging people, please send me stuff. I'm so sad. But I'm not doing that. I am still depressed. I am still grieving. So if you want to help, go ahead. And if you feel like that's too scummy or you feel that's wrong, number one, it's not wrong. I received a letter and a $50 check from one of my old high school teachers, Miss Asbury. And Miss Asbury, if you're watching this, if you ever watch my channel, I love you. You're fantastic. She sent me $50 and she was like, celebrate your grandmother. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Coke and hookers? She's like, celebrate your grandmother. So I went and bought a couple of games, and that's how I celebrated. Because Granny was a red wine type of gal and I'm a video game type of guy. But if you feel like, if you're uncomfortable with this, if you're like, I don't know, just pretend it's Christmas. Oh wait, it is the month of Christmas. Send me a Christmas gift. Send something to make me feel better. Send something to take my mind off of the stress. And again, it's e-begging, but I think I've earned it. But yeah, I'm better. Not 100%, but I'm better. And all I really want to do right now is take my mind off things. So that's what I'm hoping that some of you can help me with. And if not, that's okay. If you want to type up a message and say something pleasant, share a memory with me from one of your grandparents, that'll work. That'll suffice. Go ahead and do that. But when it comes down to it, I'm back. Going to talk about stuff. This has been a rather long update, but I'm going to attach this to the actual video, so people have to watch this and then get to the video. But yeah, I'm back. and I'm going to make content for you guys, and we're going to have a good time. Alright, so, what am I talking about? Well, obviously you can see the title. A while back, one of my subscribers, Omar, tried to send me a copy of this game. And through no fault of his own, that copy just didn't want to fucking work. I have not encountered PS4 games that are so fucked up they will not work. But, not too long ago, Adam Buskirk sent me a copy of this game. And I finally got around to playing it, as well as another PS4 exclusive that I'll talk about in just a little bit. By the way, I'm going to do multiple videos today, so keep tuned to the channel. Anywho, Knack. A lot of you might be wondering what I think about Knack. When I first initially saw Knack, I thought it looked like a lot of fun. I thought it looked like a very interesting, very return to the roots of platform brawler adventure games on PS2. Not to say Knack is as good as these games, but it reminds me of games like Jak and Daxter, the Ratchet Clank series, Sly Cooper. It reminds me of those types of games. Platforming, brawling, exploration, cute graphics, all that. And that's what Knack is. Knack is interesting in that it's a kid's game, but I enjoy it quite a bit. Not that, kiddie stuff is bad, not that simplistic games are bad, but I feel like a lot of people give Knack a lot of shit because it's not some super serious, uber, complicated fucking whatever. And that's not a fair assessment. Knack does what it does well, and it is fun throughout. It has a few moments that I would say are frustrating, and it has a few gameplay quirks that I ran into that I wasn't too fond of. But I gotta be honest, if you have a PlayStation 4 and you haven't played Knack yet, you really need to. I'm going to talk about Knack loosely. I don't want to spoil the story for people, but I also want to talk about it and get you enticed into playing it. So we're going to go over the gameplay, we're going to go over the graphics, the story, we're going to go over different things. I'll just go over the story real quick and get it out of the way. Knack's story starts off kind of confusing. You play as, of course, Knack, this sentient relic creature, and the beginning of it doesn't have a whole lot of focus. There is, of course, a conflict between humans and goblins, but by the end of the game, the conflict has become, I want to say, biblical in proportions, and it gets really interesting. It has its twists, it has its turns, it has its completely anticlimactic reunions, but overall, I think for what they were doing to make a game that's entertaining for both adults and children, I think they did it rather well. I'm not kidding. One moment is super anticlimactic. I was like, really? Like, that's just it? You're just, really? Because I don't want to spoil it, but one character, the Doctor, he has no other name, becomes reunited with another character that he thought was lost to him. And again, I don't want to spoil things, but this character basically tells him to leave. I ruined it. She has no interest in him anymore. And I thought that moment was really anticlimactic and really just confusing and really kind of disjointed. And it's funny because right after that scene, there's another scene where the Doctor and Knack are interacting, and Knack is his big bulking form, and he comes up and touches some crystals, and there's an electrical discharge, and he basically tells the Doctor, you should go up there so you don't get electrocuted. And the Doctor's being a mopey fuck. He's like, oh, electrocution will be fine now. She doesn't want me anymore. And Knack literally just reaches over and pokes him and shocks him, and he's like, what? And then he goes to do it again. He's like, all right. I thought that moment had more characterization and a lot more interesting aspects to it than the previous scene where it's just like, oh, I don't want you anymore, leave. All right, bye. It's really disjointed. But again, this is a kid's game. But the story, I think, is pretty good. I think that getting from place to place was really interesting. The levels are really diverse, which I'll talk about the levels and the gameplay design in a minute. But yeah, I think that the story is pretty good. If you're looking for an entertaining story, you will find it in Knack. It has neat characters. It has the villains. The villains are kind of just there to move the plot along. They're not really intimidating. They're not really interesting. I think the villains kind of suck. But again, it's a game for kids. I think that the gameplay is probably where Knack has its best and worst moments. To describe the gameplay, I'm basically going to say it's like God of War for kids. You use the left stick to move around, you use the right stick for dodges, you hammer the square button to do melee combos, triangle is a situational ability, and circle is what you hit to use your super moves. If you've stored up enough of that crystal energy, you can hit circle to activate any of 3 super moves. So here's how you do it. You hit circle, and then he's like, alright, I'm ready. And you can hit circle again to do a shockwave, you can hit triangle to do a projectile blast, or you can hit square to form a relic tornado around him and run into enemies till they die. The gameplay is pretty good. I think that just punching dudes, doing jumps and punching attacks and different things, I think it all works. The gameplay could have been a little more refined. I would have liked it better if, say, the triangle button was a heavy attack and they moved that special ability to somewhere else. But overall, I think the gameplay is pretty decent. One of the things about gameplay, though, is, you know, you're traversing levels, you're solving rudimentary puzzles, you are fighting baddies. Almost every single time you're fighting baddies, it's in some sort of an arena situation. Basically, you go into an area, it gets walled off, you fight the baddie, then you can leave. It gets a little contrived really fast, but it's fun throughout. And one of the interesting dynamics about Knack is that he is made of relics. He is made of these little objects that exist in the world called relics. And the more relics he brings into his form, the bigger and stronger he gets, which is great. However, there's a problem. Knack gets bigger and bigger throughout the game, but it seems kind of like what I believe... What is the name of that guy who does sequelitis? I haven't watched him in so long. Egoraptor. It does what Egoraptor coined as avatar strength. Knack gets bigger and gets stronger, and enemies get bigger and stronger, but you never really feel like you're getting stronger. Sure, it's really satisfying in a cathartic way when you punch the shit out of an enemy that gave you so much trouble earlier when you were smaller. Like, by the end of the game, you are just running over dudes. Like, I booked it to the end of the game. I was beating the shit out of everyone. But you never feel any stronger. You never feel like you've really accomplished anything because enemies get bigger and bigger. And don't get me wrong, I like the bigger, more diverse enemies. Bigger robots, bigger goblins, bigger other things that I won't spoil. But it never really feels like you're overcoming obstacles. It just feels like you are running through the motions in a slightly larger form. It's got Power Ranger syndrome. Everything just gets bigger and badder, but nothing's ever more of a threat. It's really kind of annoying. The other issue I have that ties into the gameplay and Knack getting bigger and collecting relics. I was under the impression that when I collected relics, I would replenish health. In the top left corner of the screen, you will have a little blue health bar, and then you have your crystal energy batteries, or whatever they are. The little blue health bar sometimes replenishes when you collect relics, and sometimes doesn't. What really pisses me off is when Knack is collecting relics and bulking up, but his health doesn't move at all. The health bar will literally grow, but it doesn't replenish that blue that I've lost through combat. Which, the game isn't necessarily hard, but there are some enemies that can be frustrating. For instance, there's one boss that has a move that literally stuns you in place, and I frantically would press buttons to try to punch him through his stun, and it would work, but that's not a fun time. There are other enemies that will use shockwaves to knock you back, and then they have their bullshit quick attacks and different things. There are enemies that have powerful one-hit kills that will destroy you depending on the situation that's going on, and that shit was not fun. It's annoying when I would collect relics and Knack's health would not replenish. Of course, every single time you die, you would go back to a checkpoint and have full health, but that's another issue with Knack, is that the checkpoints kind of suck ass. Boss fight checkpoints are okay. The thing that happens later in the game is you'll have multi-situational boss fights. Early on, boss fights are just you're in an arena with the boss, beat the shit out of them. Later on, you're in multiple arenas, and you get checkpoints between those arenas, which is great. But checkpoints outside of boss fights can sometimes be hit or miss. Going through several of those arena situations fighting enemies, only to get killed by a bad platforming sequence or get one-shotted by an enemy you didn't realize would one-shot you, and going back several fights, is never fun. It's tolerable, but after about the third time on one section, I had to take a break and play something else. It was really pissing me the fuck off. But, I gotta be honest, the gameplay overall is fun when you're not running into the frustrating quirks. I think that the combat is good, but there are issues such as your health not replenishing, and the bulking up really doesn't affect anything in the long run. What does affect things, though, is when Knack collects other elements. I thought this was really interesting. Throughout the game, and I guess it could be a minor spoiler, but I gotta tell you guys, it's cool. Throughout the game, you will collect different elements. He learns how to use other objects besides his relics. I told you about the situational triangle button. When you collect clear crystals and take them into your form, you can press triangle to become Stealth Knack. And I love the sections of Stealth Knack. You got a super tiny health bar and you can't take hits for shit, but you're cool. The other elements he'll take are things like ice, wood, and metal. And I thought it was really cool because in these different moments you have different situations that occur. So, for instance, you go from this icy cavern where you've collected all this ice and you're a big abominable Knack. Then you run out into the sunlight and you have a timer and your ice starts slowly melting away and you've got to book it to get your objective done before you're too small to fight some of these bigger goblins. Later on you have wood and then it's fire and you use the fire to activate furnaces, so you got to move quickly to get to there before your fire burns away and your wood burns away. And it's really interesting and dynamic. And then later with the metal you have to worry about magnets like on the ground slowing you down during combat, and up in the sky, up in the ceiling, taking your metal away, making you small and weak. I love these diverse gameplay mechanics, and I would have liked to have seen more of it. I thought that was a very interesting addition they made to the game. So I've talked about gameplay, I've talked about story. The last thing I want to talk about is, of course, the graphics and the sound design. The game looks great. It's a launch title. It doesn't look super intense. It looks fine. It reminds me of PS2 games. It's fine. It looks great. When it comes down to sound design, the repetitive tracks got a little annoying towards the end. I feel like there's only 5 songs in this entire game. Or 5 themes, not songs. Jordan underneath. I feel like there's not that much music. But the tracks that were there were adequate and they were interesting. They get repetitive, but I enjoyed them, especially the God chorus track that plays during like the final moments when everything gets big and epic. Emphasis on big. You get huge. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed Knack quite a bit, and I think that if you have a PS4 and you haven't played Knack yet, you should definitely go pick it up. It's for cheap, it's fun, and if you have children, they'll love it too. You can even watch them play it and get trophies for you. Knack is a great game. Knack is what I would consider a must-have for PS4 owners because it's fun and it does what it does very well. So, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that you weren't too cringed at the beginning when I was talking about sad stuff. And I hope that you go check out Knack. Again, stay tuned, because if you've been watching this video, there's the possibility that another one's already up or uploading, and I might do another one. Take care, everyone.